From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday morning led a sectoral meeting that centered on maintaining the country's economic resiliency amid the global economic slowdown. In a press briefing with the Malacañang Press Corps, after the meeting with the President, Department of Finance or DOF Secretary Benjamin Jokno relayed to the media on what he reported to the Chief Executive. Secretary Jokno gave an overview of the country's economic performance this year, as well as discussed the economic prospects for the year 2024. Let's listen to a portion of the presentation of Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno.
I will show you the complete set of deck that I presented this morning, and so I will just elaborate on it. I'll try to tone down the discussion, okay? So the first one is this slide. It says the economic growth in Q3, that's third quarter, remain as at 5.9. It's broad-based because all sectors grew. Tawag namin broad-based. Services grew by 6.8. The industrial sector grew by 5.5, and then the agricultural sector by 0.9%. Now, next slide. The economic growth continues to be underpinned by robust domestic demand. This is now on the demand side. No? So your final consumption, magkano yung demand, magkano yung in-import, magkano export, investment, etc. So that's the second slide. Third slide. Now, if you look at the performance of the Philippines compared to other ASEAN countries, including, we included China here, we're the fastest growing economies in Asia, okay? 5.9, that's the third quarter growth. And then compared to Vietnam's 5.3, Indonesia's 4.9, 4.9 for China, Malaysia 3.3, and Singapore 0.7. Now, if you take the first, please, back. If you take the first three quarters, Q1 to Q3, the Philippines is still the fastest growing. So the average growth rate from the first to second to the third quarter is 5.5, followed by Indonesia, or rather China, 5.2, Indonesia 5.1, and then so forth and so on. So as you can see, if you consider Asia as the fastest growing region in the world, we are the fastest growing economy in the fastest growing region in the world, okay? So next slide. So even the international financial institutions agree. No? In fact, their outlook is that the economy, the Philippine economy, will grow the fastest. No? Globally, the economy will actually slow down. So they're saying that the economy will grow by 3%. The global economy will grow by 3% this year, but it will slow down to 2.9% next year. In the case of the Philippines, they say, the IMF says, 5.3 this year, 6% next year, and so forth and so on. Okay, so you have the ADB, you have the ASEAN +3 macroeconomic office, although there's a headline, I think, some Manila, one of the news daily, it has been adjusted. No? The AMRO growth has been adjusted to 5.6 from 5.9, but still the highest, okay, and so forth. And next slide, please. But if you look at a bigger picture, compare it with the other countries, so you have the growth projection from 2023 to 2024. So the World Bank expects the Philippine economy to outgrow its East Asia and Pacific peers. This is the broader list of countries. they expect the economy to grow at 5.6%. Now, next slide. So we are confident that the economy will grow by around 6%. That's the lower end of our growth target of 6 to 7% this year, and we will continue to grow at around 6.5 to 8% for the rest of President Marcos's term. Okay.
Department of Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Bangsamoro Transition Authority, or BTA, Parliament praised President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for the issuance of Proclamation Number 406 granting amnesty to Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, members who wish to return to the fold of the law, as it serves as a vehicle to everlasting unity, peace, and reconciliation. In a statement, Deputy Speaker Ustads Abdul Karim Tan Miswari said that the move showcases the President's commitment towards unity, peace, and reconciliation. Miswari added that by choosing amnesty, President Marcos showed his sincerity and foresight, recognizing that dialogue and negotiation are keys to resolving conflicts with those who once stood against the government. The chief executive issued the proclamation to MNLF members who have committed offenses punishable under the revised penal code and special penal laws, among others, in furtherance of their political beliefs. Granting of amnesty to MNLF members will create a climate conducive for peace and reconciliation, pave the way for them to reintegrate into the society, and provide them access to government's socio-economic services. President Marcos cited the urgent need to extend amnesty to MNLF members as an instrument of reconciliation and as a path for their return to a peaceful, democratic, and pluralistic society.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday confirmed the release of Noraline Babadilla, the other Filipino national taken hostage in Gaza by the Palestinian militant group Hamas. On his official X account, the president said Babadilla has already been freed and is now safe in Israel. With Babadilla's release, President Marcos said, all Filipinos affected by the war have been accounted for. The chief executive extended his gratitude to Israeli authorities for facilitating the release of Babadilla, as well as for all ongoing assistance to Filipinos in Israel. He also thanked the governments of Egypt and Qatar for their crucial role in this process over the past several weeks. Babadilla's freedom from the hands of the Hamas came a few days after President Marcos confirmed the release of Filipino national Gilinor Pacheco. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, in a statement said the Qatari government mediated the negotiations that allowed the release of Babadilla and previously Pacheco. DFA spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza also extended gratitude to Israel for agreeing to the conditions which facilitated the release of more hostages, as well as their assistance to all Filipinos in Israel. Pacheco and Babadilla, a Filipino-Israeli national, were among the more than 200 kidnapped by the Hamas group when it mounted a cross-border assault on Israel last October 7th.
Dateline Malacañang.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday assured the various local government units, or LGUs, of his administration's continued support for their climate adaptation projects. The President made the vow as he led the presentation of the People's Survival Fund or PSF resolutions approving the local climate adaptation projects amounting to over 541 million pesos. In his speech, President Marcos said the approval of the PSF-funded climate adaptation projects is a testament to the government's unwavering commitment to environmental stewardship and climate resilience. The chief executive expressed optimism that with the implementation of local climate adaptation projects, the dream for a sustainable and climate-resilient Philippines is attainable. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Today marks an extremely important and pivotal moment because this ceremony convenes the turnover of the People's Survival Fund, a testament to this government's unwavering commitment to environmental stewardship and climate resilience. I am pleased to announce a historic achievement: the approval of 5 climate change adaptation projects in various local government units, totaling 539.44 million pesos. One project development grant worth 2 million has likewise been recently approved. This milestone not only reinforces our dedication to climate adaptation, but it also signifies that for the first time, in a remarkably short period, the PSF board has approved projects of such magnitude. The PSF and the projects it funds will serve as a safeguard as we adapt to climate change and mitigate its effects. We can proudly say that the Philippines is a trailblazer in domestic climate finance for adaptation, showcasing our nation's commitment to global environmental responsibility. As we are set to participate, I leave for Dubai, in the UAE, tomorrow, to participate in the 28th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or what is more commonly known as COP28. We are once again poised to lead. We will use this platform to rally the global community and call upon nations to honor their commitments, particularly in climate financing. To the beneficiaries of the PSF, I extend my congratulations and our continuing support to all your efforts to mitigate and to adapt to the effects of climate change in our country. Your dedication to climate-related projects is noteworthy and will help boost the resilience of our people and their communities. So I urge you to ensure the successful implementation of your respective projects, understanding that your efforts contribute greatly to our collective survival. You are not alone in this effort. We in the national government are behind you and are ready to do all that we need to do and to assist you, to guide you, and so that these projects will be successful and will lead on to greater and bigger mitigation efforts for climate change effects. It is something I have always said that there is, during the time, since the last year and a half, it has become very, very clear that there is no discussion in government whether the sectors being discussed are health, our infrastructure, our security, any other subject. The subject of climate change is always included and always comes up. That is how important it is, and that is also the importance that we ascribe to the efforts of our local governments, our national government, to mitigate and to adapt to the climate change effects in the Philippines. We have unfortunately been determined to be one of the most vulnerable countries to the effects of climate change in the world. And so we must do our part here in the Philippines. But we must also take the lead when it comes to the global move and the global aspiration that those most vulnerable communities around the world will somehow be assisted by the developing countries when it comes to these measures to mitigate and to adapt to climate change. So I hope that the successful execution of these plans serve as an inspiration to other LGUs to strengthen our shared commitment to climate resilience. Our planet's health cannot be sacrificed for short-term gains, and therefore it is our obligation to shape a world that our children will inherit with pride. Ladies and gentlemen, let us view the challenges brought about by climate change not as burdens to be carried, but opportunities for renewal and advancement. We have been given after COVID, we have been given I would say, a almost blank page to write our future history on. And that is the opportunity that I see. It now is up to us to formulate and put together and to implement and to bring to our local communities the effects of that effort to mitigate and to adapt to climate change. Through the PSF, we can realize our dream for a sustainable and climate-resilient Philippines. We can showcase the transformative change that a united people can achieve. So once again, congratulations to our beneficiaries. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Maraming salamat sa pagkabahagi ninyo ng bagong Pilipinas.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Wednesday said that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has vowed to look for ways to ensure the immediate passage of measures that would help strengthen the country's cybersecurity efforts. In a statement, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Cheloy Garafil said, the President made the commitment after the Private Sector Advisory Council or PSAC requested him to certify as priority legislation the 3 bills pending in the Senate, in line with the Philippine Digital Transformation Framework. President Marcos met with PSAC Digital Infrastructure Group at the State Dining Room of Malacañang Palace in Manila on Tuesday to discuss the digital infrastructure work plans. The 3 bills being pushed by PSAC and are pending at the Senate include Senate Bill or SB number 1365 or the proposed Cyber Security Act, SB number 2039 or the proposed Anti-Mule Act, and SBs 2150 and 2385 or the proposed Online Site Blocking Act. The proposed Cybersecurity Act aims to institutionalize and strengthen the National Cybersecurity Interagency Committee, as well as promote and increase the country's cybersecurity resilience and improve its posture. On the other hand, the proposed Anti-Mule Act seeks to prohibit money mules and other fraudulent acts involving bank accounts, e-wallets, and other financial accounts, while the proposed online site blocking bill intends to institutionalize online site blocking of websites showing pirated content to protect the creative industry and consumers against online content piracy. Based on the data from the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, the Philippines ranked 4th worldwide in the number of cyber attacks, with 3,000 cyber incidents logged from 2020 to 2022. About half of the reported cyber attacks targeted the government.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has declared the last working day of November as National Bike to Work Day to raise public awareness of the viability of cycling as a mode of transportation and promote active transport in the Philippines. Proclamation number 409 signed by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin on behalf of the President on November 28th and made public on Wednesday evening cites the need to make cycling a mainstream mode of transportation and further improve cycling infrastructure in the Philippines. The proclamation states that the Philippine Development Plan, or PDP 2023 to 2028, underscores the need to develop an active transport network and accord highest priority to pedestrians and cyclists in the hierarchy of road users. Under Proclamation number 409, the Interagency Technical Working Group on Active Transport, or IATWG-AT, of the Department of Health, or DOH, is designated to lead, coordinate, and supervise the observance of National Bike to Work Day. The IATWG-AT is also mandated to identify the programs, projects, and activities for the annual celebration, as well as coordinate with relevant non-government organizations and civil society groups. All other national government agencies and instrumentalities, including government-owned or controlled corporations, government financial institutions, and state universities and colleges, are directed to provide the necessary assistance and support to the DOH and the IATWG-AT for the effective implementation of the proclamation. Local government units, or LGUs, and the private sector are encouraged to support the yearly celebration of the National Bike to Work Day. Republic Act, or RA number 8749, or the Philippine Clean Air Act, provides that the Senate, rather the state, must ensure a balance between development and environmental protection and maintain a quality of air that protects human health and welfare. RA number 8749 also encourages non-motorized transportation. The 1987 Constitution also declares it a policy of the state to protect and advance the right of the people to a balanced and healthful ecology in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature.
Dateline Malacañang.
Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin represented President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday in commemorating the 160th birth anniversary of Andres Bonifacio at the Bonifacio National Monument in Caloocan City. Spearheaded by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, or NHCP, the event bears the theme Katungkulan at Pananagutan tungo sa kaunlaran ng bayan, which emphasizes the importance of a collective approach in driving the country's advancement and prosperity. It serves as a call to action for all Filipinos to recognize the shared responsibility in contributing to the nation's growth. In his speech, read by Executive Secretary Bersamin, the President said that Andres Bonifacio was just an ordinary person that dreamed and showed bravery and leadership in the hour of need. This is the reason why each year the country gives tribute to Bonifacio and other Filipinos who gave up their life for the country. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., read by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin.
It is my privilege to read to you the address of our beloved President, who right now is preparing to leave for Dubai to attend that all-important international conference among heads of state called the Conference of the Parties. This will be a conference on climate change. He would have himself preferred to be present today and deliver his address. But the time that he will spend making the trip prevents him from sparing the time for this occasion. So may I now be permitted to read his message. Kaisa ng bawat mamamayan sa loob at labas ng bansa, kasama ninyo ako sa pagdiriwang ng ika-160 anibersaryo ng kapanganakan ni Gat Andres Bonifacio. Ano ba ang pagkakakilala ng kasalukuyang Pilipino kay Andres Bonifacio? Kilala natin siya bilang ama ng katipunan at ama ng himagsikang Pilipino. Ang kanyang imahe ay nakatatak na sa ating isipan at sumisimbolo sa katapangan ng ating mga ninuno na nanguna sa revolusyon para sa kalayaan. Sa ating modernong panahon, hindi may tatanggi na sinasalamin din niya ang isang ordinaryong Pilipino. Naranasan niyang tumigil sa pag-aaral nang sila ay maulila at siya ay pumasok sa iba't ibang trabaho para suportahan ang kanyang sarili at mga kapatid. Sa tamang gulang, ay namulat sa katotohanang dapat manindigan sa prinsipyo at ipagtanggol ang mga Pilipinong inaapi sa sarili nitong bayan. Sa madaling salita, si Andres Bonifacio ay isang ordinaryong Pilipino na nangarap at nagpamalas ng kakaibang giting, katatagan at pamumuno sa oras ng matinding pangangailangan. Ito ang dahilan kung bakit taon-taon ay nagbibigay pugay tayo sa kanya at sa iba pang mga mamamayang nagbuwis ng buhay para sa bayan. Ang kabayanihan ay likas sa sinuman kung hahayaan nilang ang kanilang puso ay mag-alab sa pag-ibig, pagmamalasakit at pangunawa sa kanilang kapwa at bayan. Kahit mahigit isa't kalahating siglo na ang nakakalipas, ay nananatiling buhay pa rin ang diwa ng kanyang katauhan at ehemplo. Ilaan natin ang araw na ito upang parangalan si Gat Andres Bonifacio at ang kanyang kontribusyon sa pagtataguyod ng ating pagkakakilanlan bilang Pilipino. Bukod dito, inaanyayahan ko rin ang bawat isa na tularan ang kanyang kabayanihan at pagmamahal sa bayan at ipakita ang mga ito sa ating pang-araw-araw na gawain. Sa diwa ng bayaning si Gat Andres Bonifacio, tayo'y tinatawag hindi lamang na ialay ang ating buhay para sa inang bayan, kundi pati na ang pagbuhos ng ating kahusayan, galing, tapang at oras upang ang bawat hakbang natin ay maging ilaw ng pag-asa at inspirasyon para sa ating mga kababayan. Nakikita na natin ang kabayanihang ito sa ating mga makabagong bayani. Sa sipag at tiyaga ng mga manggagawang Pilipino, sa walang kapantay na galing ng ating mga nurse at doktor, sa wagas na dedikasyon ng mga guro, sa matibay na kagitingan ng ating kapulisan at kasundaluhan, sa di matatawarang sakripisyo ng ating mga OFW, silang lahat ay nagbibigay buhay at saysay sa pag-usbong ng ating bayan. Gaya nila, maaaring nating ipagpatuloy ang nasimulan ni Gat Andres Bonifacio at tiyaking may papamana natin sa mga kabataan ang tunay at wagas na pagmamahal sa bayan tulad ng kanyang ipinamalas. Tulad nga ng isang linya sa tulang Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Lupa na isinulat ni Gat Andres, walang mahalagang hindi inihandog ng may pusong mahal sa bayang nagkupkop. Ang bawat isa sa atin ay may mahalagang tungkulin sa pagsulong ng Pilipinas. Lahat ay dapat makilahok sa mga gawaing magpapayabong ng ating kultura, ekonomiya at lipunan. Lalo na ngayon na sinisikap nating may taguyod ang isang bagong Pilipinas. Mga minamahal kong kababayan, ngayon ika-160 anibersaryo ng kapanganakan ni Gat Andres Bonifacio, gampanan natin ang tungkulin ito. At bilang pasasalamat sa kanya at sa lahat ng ating mga bayani, ating pahalagahan at pangalagaan ang kalayaan ng ating inang bayan ngayon at magpakailanman. Mabuhay ang alaala ni Andres Bonifacio. Mabuhay ang bayang Pilipino. Muli, yan po ang mensahe ng ating mahal na Pangulo. At mula naman po sa akin, mahalin po natin lalo ang ating bansa at panghawakan natin ang pangako ng bagong Pilipinas na may maliwanag na bukas at puno ng oportunidad para sa lahat. Isang makabuluhang pagdiriwang po sa lahat at maraming salamat.
Philippine Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin.
Dateline Malacañang.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday canceled his trip to Dubai in order to facilitate the dispatch of a high-level delegation to Tehran, Iran. In an expose, the president said that the delegation aims to provide the necessary assistance to the 17 Filipino seafarers who were held hostage by Yemen's Houthi rebels aboard their vessel in the Red Sea. Earlier, Foreign Undersecretary for Migrant Workers Affairs Eduardo de Vega said that the Iran-backed Houthis seized the Galaxy Leader cargo ship on November 19th. While the vessel is Israel-owned, it is operated by a Japanese company. President Marcos was supposed to attend the 28th Conference of the Parties, or COP28, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC. Over 70,000 delegates, including heads of state and world leaders, are expected to join the COP28, which will be hosted by the United Arab Emirates. On his behalf, the chief executive entrusted to Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR Secretary Maria Antonio Yulo Loizaga, to lead the COP28 delegation and articulate the Philippines statement.
Dateline Malacañang.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday evening vowed to exhaust all remedies available to send home safely the 17 Filipino seafarers who were held hostage by Houthi rebels in Yemen. In a video message, the president extended his apologies to the Filipino community in the United Arab Emirates or UAE after he opted to cancel his trip to Dubai to personally address important developments in the case of the Filipino seafarers. President Marcos said that they are forming a high-level delegation that will be dispatched to Iran in order to provide the necessary assistance to the hostage seafarers. The chief executive said he hopes that the Filipino community in Dubai will understand his decision, as he emphasized the government is also attending to the case of the Filipino nationals affected by the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas. Let's listen to the message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to the Filipino community in Dubai.
Kumusta na dyan, mga kababayan sa Dubai? Salamat at kayo nakahantap ng oras para tayo sana dapat magsasama-sama. Dapat magkasama tayo ngayon sa malaking pagtitipod ng PhilCom sa iba't ibang bansa. Kaso na nga lang, medyo malungkot kasi hindi tayo natuloy. Alam naman ninyo, may mga bagay na kailangan agad na asikasuhin. Isa na doon, yung ating mga kababayan, mga kapwa-Pilipino natin na na-hostage. 17 sila na na-hostage at ginagawa natin lahat ng paraan upang sila ay may uwi na. At kaya binubuo natin ang isang delegasyon para pumunta sa kanila at makipag-usap doon sa mga may hawak sa kanila para makauwi na sila. Siguro naman maunawaan ninyo na inunan muna natin yan dahil kailangan natin tiyakin siyempre ang seguridad ng ating mga kababayan. Kakatapos lang natin na iuwi lahat ng ating mga Pilipino na naiwan sa Gaza. Doon nga sa labanan ng Israel at sa Gaza ay yung iba na hostage, meron nga tayong casualty, napakalungkot. Ngunit yung mga naging hostage at saka yung mga hindi makalabas ay nailabas na natin. Kaya patuloy naman ang aming ginagawa upang ang ating mga kababayan ay maging maganda naman ang kanilang sitwasyon at sa lalong madaling panahon ay sana makauwi na sila. Kapanghinayang nga dahil I was looking forward to being with you. Dahil alam nyo, sa lahat ng aking mga pagbabiyahe, ang pinakamasaya sa lahat ng biyahe na yan ay pagka nagkikita tayo mga Pilipino. Dahil siyempre pagka maraming Pilipino, laging masaya. Laging may kantahan, laging may tawanan. At I feel very bad that I will not be able to do what you do this time. Ngunit, ay pinapangako ko sa inyo, pagka nagkaroon ng iba pang pagkakataon, ay gagawin natin ulit yan. At I will make it up to you at gagawin pa natin mas magandang programa pa para naman makabawi naman ako sa inyo na hindi ako nakarating ngayong panahon na ito. Ngunit magkakaroon pa tayo ng pagkakataon at titiyakin natin na ang magiging pagsasama ulit natin, magiging pagsasama ng Filipino community ay magiging matagumpay at masaya, kagaya ng lagi, basta't kasama ang mga Pilipino. Sa ngayon, gusto ko lang pasalamatan kayo sa inyong malaking ambag sa bayan, ang sipag, ang kahusayan at pagtataguyod nyo ng serbisyong Pilipino ay isang kahanga-hangang halimbawa para sa ating lahat dito sa Pilipinas at kinikilala na sa buong mundo. Maagang maligayang Pasko sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay ang bawat Pilipino sa Dubai at sa buong UAE. Maraming salamat po. Nami-miss na kayo namin. Basta't asahan ninyo, magkikita rin tayo.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, we would like to invite everyone to come and visit our Facebook page at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.